Have a good day. I am Dr. T.P. Meghundan, Associate Professor, Department of Civil Engineering, Bharat Institute of Science and Technology, Bharat Institute of Higher Education and Research. Now, I am interested in discussing about the subject design of concrete structures bearing the code, the subject code as U18 PECE 026. And in this subject, specifically, we would be discussing about the earthquake resistant construction. We all very well know that because of this earthquake, all the structures will be destroyed or dismantled into pieces, and the effect or the impact of the earthquake depends upon the intensity of the earthquake. So we have to be very well knowing about the impact, and we have to do special attention to the structures, and we will be taking more care for the structures which we build towards taking care about the earthquake. And regarding this earthquake, by itself, it is a great disaster, but we say it is a natural phenomenon resulting from the ground movement, and it will be causing a lot of problems, which has got its own surface waves, which cause major vibration of the ground, and the structures which are all standing over the surface or the ground will be affected. Depending on the different characteristics of these vibrations, the ground may develop lot of cracks, fissures, even settlements. And in this aspect, we would be discussing about base isolation technique to overcome this earthquake resistant structure. The first technique is the base isolation, which also can be termed as seismic base isolation or base isolation system, wherein this is going to be the most popular means of protecting a structure against earthquake forces. As we all know, the earthquake or the impact of the earthquake is measured in the Richter scale. When the Richter scale goes beyond 4 or 5, the effect will be more, and the impact on the structures would be very much visualized. So we have to go for some system wherein we can protect our structure. So in this, we are discussing about base isolation. In this, it is a collection of structural elements which substantially decouple the superstructure from its substructure. We all know we have got the substructure made up of the foundation and the basement, and over that we have got superstructure. That superstructure is being decoupled from the substructure because of the shaking crown, and thus protecting the building or any non-building structures integrity. And the basic concept of the base isolation is explained through an example building resting on frictionless roller. if the building is resting over a roller wherein you don't have any friction. And when the ground shakes, the rollers will freely roll, but the building above does not move. That is the basic idea. That is, we are isolating the superstructure from the substructure. That is what we are explaining through an example wherein the building is resting over a roller which is having no friction. So then the roller moves, freely rolls, then the building above will not have any impact of moving. Thus, no force is transferred to the building due to any shaking of the ground. Simply, the building does not experience the earthquake impact. So here we can see the figure depicts the freely rolling rollers over which you have got a building. If the gap between the building and the vertical wall of the foundation pit is small, the vertical wall of the pit may hit the building when the ground moves. So this is a simple building on rollers without any friction. This is what we were discussing about the simple technique of base isolation. And coming to the principles of the base isolation, the fundamental principle of the base isolation is to modify the response of the building so that the ground can move below the building without transmitting these motions or these vibrations into the building. That is the basic principle. Actually, we are isolating the superstructure so that the ground can move, but it cannot transform or it cannot transmit these motions and the vibrations into the building. That is the idea. When you have got a fixed base or a conventional footing, we can able to see the figure depicts how a fixed base building will be affected or shaking because of the movement of the earth beneath. Whereas when it is isolated with the base isolation technique, then the building we can very well see, though the base beneath that you have got roller or whatever isolation material we use, that might go along with the movement of the earth, whereas the building is uprightly standing. That is the idea of base isolation or the principle of the base isolation. Coming to the advantages of this earthquake resisting structures based on the base isolation technique, it is protecting the structures from the earthquake actions, and so also it protects them from the GST blast loads, as the ability to move reduces the overall impact. That is, the blast force or this blast impact will be reduced in the case of the base isolation. The base isolated structures are predictable, hence reliability of them is very high. The isolation technique provides most predictable results. So the reliability of this structure is going to be very high compared to the conventional structural components. Presently, the need of the strengthening measures such as the framed structures or the frames, bracings, shear walls is cut down by reducing the earthquake forces transmitted to the building. That is one of the advantage. And further, simplification of seismic analysis as compared to the conventional structures by allowing reduction in the structural elements. In case of large unexpected seismic activities, damage is only concentrated in the isolation system where elements can be easily substituted. This is what in the figure also we could able to see that damages only will be concentrated in the isolation system, or wherein you are providing the techniques or equipments for the base isolation. The base isolation can also be retrofitted to suitable existing structures. It can also be incorporated in the existing structures. Moreover, the building can remain serviceable throughout the construction. Coming to some of the disadvantages, base isolation cannot be done on every structure. For example, it is not suitable for structures resting on soft soils. It is again another disadvantage. It becomes less efficient for high-rise buildings. Unlike other retrofitting, base isolation cannot be applied partially to the structure. Unlike other retrofitting techniques, base isolation cannot be applied partially to the structure. Implementation is efficient in situations wherein it becomes very difficult and often requires highly skilled labors, because the base isolation you have to do with more care, and the isolation technique and so also the equipments used for this isolation should be executed with the people who are all very well trained, and we can say generally it can be done by the skilled labors and with skilled supervision. The earthquake protection of the structures using isolation techniques is generally suitable if the following conditions are fulfilled. As we have seen, the base isolation technique is limited. It has got some limitations, wherein we have seen the basic point that when the structure is resting over a soft soil, then it cannot be applied there. So we need to fulfill this following conditions. The very first point goes with the subsoil does not produce a predominance of long period ground motion, and the structure is fairly jointed with sufficiently high column load. The site permits horizontal displacement at the base of the order of 200 mm or more. Lateral loads due to the wind are less than approximately 10% of the weight of the structures. So we have listed some of the points to be or conditions to be satisfied to go for the base isolation technique, and the comparison we can have with the fixed base and the isolated base. During earthquakes, the conventional structures with the isolation is subjected to substantial story drifts, which may lead to damage or even collapse of the building. Whereas the isolated structure, the initial one is having fixed base, wherein it can be subjected to substantial story drift. There will be movement, there will be vibrations, which will be caused, leading to damage, even collapse of the entire building. That is what if you have a fixed base. Whereas the structure resting over a base isolated technique applied, then it is having some vibration, almost like a rigid body with large deformations, or displacements restricted by the isolation bearings. We can use isolation bearings, or we can use some of the pads, whatever that we will be seeing in the forthcoming discussions. So the decoupling effect gives this extra advantage to the isolated structures. when the load or the vibration or the displacement is taking place, it will be concentrating in the isolation areas. That is, if we are going for bearings, that will be concentrated there, so that the vibration or the displacement or the deformations will be taken care by the isolation bearings. And because of this decoupling effect, the isolated structures can stand upright without any displacement or without any large deformations. That is the idea of base isolation. And then finally, the lateral forces of the isolated building are not only reduced in magnitude, but also fairly redistributed over the floors, which further mitigates the overturning moments of the structure. Through this, what we come to know, the base isolation technique not only relieves the structure entirely from the displacement, rather it also reduces the magnitude, and it is distributing the loads or the deformations to all the flows, so that further mitigation in overcoming this overturning moment will be very, very easy. That is the idea. The lateral forces of the isolated building are not only reduced in magnitude, but also, that is what, fairly redistributed over the flows. That is what been depicted in the picture, wherein we can able to see the left hand side line shows it is the building or the structure with fixed base. Here the right hand side line or the right hand side sketch shows the base isolated technique used, wherein the structure, the distribution or redistribution of the forces taking place in all the flows, so that it has got very less overturning moment. And coming to the application of base isolation, though the technology is still developing, it has been used in interminable number of structures. Base isolation techniques have been used in so many number of buildings, and it was very first implemented in New Zealand during 1974, and it was first enforced in India in 2001 after the Gujarat earthquake. The LA City Hall, which is having height of 138 meters in Los Angeles, is the tallest base isolated building in the world. We have got the Los Angeles City Hall, which is having a height of 138 meters, which is the tallest building having the technique of base isolation. And it has found numerous applications in modern times, such as retrofitting it in the residential buildings, buildings of historical importance, monuments, bridges, etc. So this base isolation technique is very simple technique, and so also universally it can be followed easily. And we have seen through the case study that the Los Angeles LA City Hall have got major height, and which has been implemented with this base isolation technique. And the we have listed now only the very first application is in New Zealand during the year 1974, and in US it is implemented in the year 1984. The Japanese used this application during 1985. US, we have got a wide range of usage of this technique to around more than 80 number of buildings and 150 number of bridges. In Japan, the number of buildings were around 1,000, and the bridges number goes up to even 500, wherein we have got our Indian application during 2003. And this simple pictures depict this. This is what we were discussing. The tallest building in the world, which is having the base isolation technique, is the Los Angeles City Hall, using this base isolation technique. And Tomb of Cyrus is said to be the oldest base isolated structure in the world. And the earthquake protecting system, we have got varieties of protective system, wherein we have got passive protective system, hybrid protective system, and active protective system. Under passive protective systems, we have got the tuned mass damper and energy dissipation technique and base isolation technique. Under passive protective system, we have got further three classifications. One is the tuned mass damper, the energy dissipation technique, and the third one, base isolation technique. And coming to the hybrid protective system, we have got active isolation, semi-active isolation, and semi-active mass damping. These are all the three further classifications coming under hybrid protective system. And the final most active protective system, we have got active mass damping, active bracing, and adaptive control. Here we can able to see the base isolation is the most common system wherein we are using worldwide or in general. So active, in the active system, we have got the isolation and or energy dissipation devices are powered to provide optimum performance. We say the active system and the passive system. The active system is nothing but where the isolation or the energy dissipation devices are powered to provide optimum performance. So you need to go for the energy dissipation devices have to be powered, whereas in the passive system, the base isolation falls into this general category of passive energy dissipation, which also includes in-structure damping. The base isolation coming under the general category of passive energy dissipation, which also includes in-structure damping. The in-structure damping adds damping devices within the structure to dissipate energy, but does not permit base movement. That is the basic principle. It will not permit the base movement and it will dissipate the energy. So in the in-structure damping adds damping devices within the structure to dissipate the energy, but does not permit the base movement. How to separate a structure from the ground? Because when we discuss about the base isolation, we were discussing the basic principle to isolate the substructure from the superstructure, or we can say superstructure is being decoupled from the substructure. How to achieve this separation? How can the structure be separated from the ground during earthquake loads but still resist the gravity? Ideal separation would be total. We need to go, suppose if we could be able to separate it completely, then it would be very good. Perhaps an air gap, frictionless rollers, or well-oiled sliding surface, sky hooks, or magnetic levitation. These all have practical restraints. We can have the separation by using the technique. Even an air gap can give a separation, or frictionless rollers that can also provide the decoupling action from the substructure to the superstructure. And so also you can have a well-oiled sliding surface or sky hooks, magnetic levitation, but each and every technique has got its own practical restraint. For example, an air gap would not provide vertical support. This is the condition, or we can have the restriction for the air gap technique. Whereas a sky hook needs to hang from something. You need to have some support from wherein the sky hook can be hang from that support. And we were discussing about another tool, that is frictional rollers, or the sliders or magnetic levitation would allow the building to move for blocks under a gust of wind. When you have got frictionless roller or sliders, that will move under a gust of wind. That is the restriction for that kind of technique. The basic requirement of an isolation system are the flexibility and the damping, resistance to vertical or other service load. All these things are basic requirement for an isolation system, that is flexibility, damping, resistance to vertical or other service loads. And the type of isolation system, though an ideal solution is yet to be discovered or invented, there are few practical isolation mechanisms which are used widely in the field of earthquake engineering, which means that these systems are capable of reducing the seismic demand of the structure. The elastomeric rubber bearing, we have got in the base isolation, as we were discussing, we have got different varieties or types of techniques for base isolation. In that, the elastomeric rubber bearing, you can use that. The next kind goes with roller and ball bearings. And we can even go with massive springs beneath any structure, which can decouple the substructure and the superstructure. And we can use sliding bearing and soft story and sleeved piles and rocking isolation systems are other major systems. You can go with soft story and even sleeved piles, and rocking isolation systems also can be used for the base isolation. Mainly, we will be going with elastomeric rubber bearings, the roller, ball bearings, even springs, and the sliding bearing. The type of base isolation device, there are, that is what so far we were discussing, 6 major types of base isolation devices, which are widely adopted for seismic base isolation. In this, the elastomeric bearings, high damping bearings, lead rubber bearings, flat slider bearings, curved slider bearings or pendulum bearings, and the final most one is the ball and roller bearings. All these 6 kinds of devices or bearings, we can say, can be majorly used for the base isolation technique. That is The one goes with elastomeric bearing. The next one, high damping bearing, lead rubber bearing, flat slider bearing, curved slider bearings, or it can also be termed as pendulum bearings, and the last one with ball and roller bearings. The types of base isolation system dampers: you can have steel dampers, oil dampers, lead dampers, friction dampers with disc springs. We have got varieties of dampers available to go with base isolation technique. In that, we have got steel damper, oil damper, lead dampers, friction dampers with disc springs. And about the elastomeric rubber bearing, which we are mostly using widely, the bearings formed of horizontal layers of synchronized natural rubber in thin layers bound between steel plates. You got layers of synchronized natural rubber, and it can be bound using steel plates. These bearings are capable of supporting high vertical loads with very small deformations. Since the bearing is having pieces or layers of rubber in it, and it is being bound using steel plates, it can have very less deformation, or we can say during it can support even high vertical loads. These bearings are flexible under lateral loads. Steel plates prevent the rubber layers from bulging. That is the idea. We place the thin layers of the rubber in between the steel plates so that it prevents the bulging. The lead cores are provided to increase damping capacity, as plain elastomeric bearings does not provide significant damping. The lead cores, to improve or to increase the damping capacity, is used in the elastomeric bearings. They are usually soft in horizontal direction, and it is going to be very hard in vertical direction. So the elastomeric rubber bearings will be soft in the horizontal direction, and it will be very hard in vertical direction. So you can able to see the laminated rubber bearings here. It has been shown, and it is bound between the steel plates, so we can have very good resistance against the dissipation or deformation for the elastomeric rubber bearing. As we were discussing, you have got the cover plates. In between, we have got rubber. So we have got the thin layers of rubbers placed in between the steel plates. As we were discussing, the steel plates are being embedded, or the rubber sheets are embedded in between the steel plates, so that the bulging of the rubber is not at all occurring for this elastomeric rubber bearing. So as we have discussed, the elastomeric rubber bearing is soft against horizontal, and it will be very hard towards the vertical movement, so that it is taking care of the deformations or the displacements beneath the ground, so that the earthquake is, or the impact of the earthquake is being reduced. We can go with the second kind, roller and ball bearings, in the forthcoming sessions. Thank you.